News 4 Tucson is celebrating the holidays with our Anchored in Tradition series. Today, Daniel McFarland gives us a Thanksgiving twist on mashed potatoes that you can try at home next week.
We've all done the typical mashed potatoes and gravy for Thanksgiving, but I got a great recipe from my Aunt Tammy, twice baked potato casserole, that puts a really nice twist on it. The first thing you want to do is, of course, wash the potatoes. After they're washed, make sure to peel them. Cut the potatoes to around this size. And of course, after they're cut down, we're going to boil them like any other kind of mashed potato. They're boiled up until they're soft, the same way as regular mashed potatoes, and if you're sticking your fork in them and they just kind of fall apart, you know they're done. After we drain them, now it's time to get the masher and mash those potatoes down. Now this is where things get a little bit different. We're going to be adding milk, of course, and then we're going to grab some salt and pepper. Now one thing I want to note about the milk is that it's not going to be as much as what you would typically use for regular mashed potatoes. Do a little bit less because we're going to be adding in some other dairy products in a little bit, namely lots and lots of cheese. While you're also putting in the milk, another handy thing to put in at this time is going to be butter. And yes, we are going to be using an entire stick of butter for this recipe. After you get it nice and mixed up, this is where things are going to get very different from traditional mashed potatoes. We're going to get 3 different ingredients. First, you have bacon bits, you got your cheddar cheese, and I think shredded is much easier to use for this one. And then you're going to have your green onions. Just going to add those in there. And then we're going to mix it up again until it's all mixed up nice and good. After you mix it up again, it should look something like this. And something else to note, if you're wondering how much green onion or bacon bits to use, I think around a cup each is probably going to be just fine. I like to do a little bit less cheese because we're going to add even more cheese on in just a minute. Now we're at the point where we need to actually put it in a baking dish. I would recommend a bigger casserole dish, but of course you can always kind of do these individual servings. Those always look nice when you put those out on the table too. Now that you've picked your dish, this is where the cheese comes back out, and we're going to sprinkle just a little bit of cheddar on top of the whole thing. All right, now it's time to throw it into the oven at 350 for about 20 minutes. And after the 20 minutes are up, that is it. It is good to go. Now, something else I want to mention briefly is that this can be prepped days before. So if you want to make this the day before Thanksgiving and throw it in the oven for about 20 minutes, it should be good to go. For the full recipe, go to KVOA.com.